This the story of crypto blood and truth blitz. Ask them a cliff high what the truth is. They was just talking about the blockchain. That's when they heard Janet yelling and the cops came. They said give me all your Bitcoin and lock aim. Then Jamie Dimon showed up and the shots rained. So they hopped in the Lambo and took off fast. Welcome to the Block Party Podcast.
A lot of third parties, because that's what we're trying to not have.
Right.
Yep.
Yes.
So all of that intermediary stuff, layers that you need in the normal system, we don't need,
but
and
they're pushing it on us.
They're pushing it on us.
Yeah. So like, it sounds to me, this sounds depressing.
Custodian is the word. You're going to see crypto custodians. If you're going to start a business right now, a crypto custodian would be a good one, because you're going to be fully licensed and you'll probably be just legislated in. And that's ridiculous.
Yeah, this sounds
custodians. We're our own custodians. We've got our own private keys on our own wallets. Right. That's what smart contracts do. That.
Yeah, you're gonna say something, CB?
Yeah, I was just gonna say this sounds very depressing, Dave. Because it sounds like we're taking the old legacy system, upgrading it a little bit. It's faster, but it's more transparent. They can track us more. So what is this new paradigm shift really good for? Is it going to be to our benefit?
Well, I mean, I'm a regulatory refugee for a reason. It's very possible that the U.S. will regulate itself back into the Stone Age. Mm-hmm. The chairman of the CFTC is pretty progressive and wants things to not be clamped down on. But the chairman of the SEC has a different idea, and I understand it. Mm-hmm. And they're between a rock and a hard place. But my answer is look hard at existing regulations and ask if they're working, because I don't think they're working. And if America goes that direction, America will miss out on the wave of innovation that's coming. And there are parts of Asia and Europe and probably Africa that will benefit a lot.
I mean, look, we just had the biggest Ponzi scheme, Madoff, and we had all the regulation that we've had for years. So
Madoff was a director of NASDAQ.
Yeah.
He was on the board of directors of NASDAQ.
Yeah, sure was. He had a board seat, and that's expensive as hell to have. So money that lets you know money is really what is the catalyst and how this whole system works. You know,
it has
nothing to do with
I really would be happy to help regulators, and you know what? I've been talking to bloggers and interviewers and journalists for the last 2 months, and all we talk about is regulation, and we haven't even gotten to the tax problem. Mm-hmm. The tax conversation is even worse.
Right. Yeah, it is.
So, people don't understand it. The tax people don't understand it. Every time you move cryptocurrencies, that's a taxable event. Mm-hmm. It's nothing like spending dollars.
Nope.
It's impossible to keep track of this stuff. Of course, I'm paying expensive people a lot of money to figure out my tax bill for last year, but it's just and I'm not even sure the tax people think this is even worth going after. I just we don't have systems to do this. We don't have tools. The legislation is 50 years old, and things have got to start to catch up.
Yeah.
And then, what we should be talking about, guys, is innovation.
Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely agree. It seems as the way things are going right now that America is going to miss out. And I think that because of all of this over-regulation, that it's really going to make the popularity of these decentralized exchange really, we're going to see a lot more decentralized exchanges.
That'll help. Sure. Yeah. People want to do certain things. We're going to find ways to get around regulations. It's too bad, because you'd like regulators to want to do the right thing for people.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I mean, let's talk more about innovation and less about the giant steps backward we're all being forced to take at the moment. Because you know what?
Right.
You know, I mean, I believe it's just a phenomenon, and this is not investment advice. I don't give investment advice, but from my point of view, it's a fantastic buying opportunity. I think we're going to figure out how to get out of this. I think that this genie is not going back in the bottle, and there's not going to be some way that cryptos get crushed. I think we have the technology and the means now to build our own decentralized systems. For example, our own communication networks that Facebook and the FBI don't have a backdoor to, and advertisers can't get their hands on, and that's not going to go away.
So speaking of this, you know, existing climate that we're in, like, where do you feel we are in cryptocurrencies? Are we slightly overvalued as far as the tokens? A lot of these ERC20 ICO tokens.
Well, don't look at individual tokens. Don't look at individual projects. There's too much uncertainty. We don't know. There's no way to. There's lots of ways to value these things, and all of them are wrong. Let's not get too overcommitted or over hung up on one particular thing. It's like saying, 6 months ago, well, Tesla stock is just going to go crazy because the Model 3 is just going to be the biggest car sensation in history. And 6 months ago, Tesla's stock was the highest market cap of any car company.
Because they were pricing forward. It was a forward pricing on that Model 3, right?
And now, I don't know if you've seen lately, but the last couple of weeks, it's dropped like a rock. Why? Because they can only make 200 cars a day and not 300 cars a day.
Right. And
they promised, they got 500,000 orders. And 200 cars a day, for whatever reason the analysts say, is not cutting it. And so now it's dropped tremendously. So, 6 months ago, you could have said it's still a good buy because there's still plenty of room to go here. And you would have been dead wrong.
Right.
Now, I would say that makes Tesla stock a good buy today. Right. I would say that without picking at all, just a basket of cryptocurrencies that you don't have to spend any time evaluating, just get a bunch of them, will probably work out pretty well.
Right.
I think cherry picking your favorites, I think we all probably have our favorites. I think that's a fallacy that we can see the future and tell which ones are going to do how much. And someone told me the other day that Ether is going to have a support point at $370, which we hit this morning. And, it's not going to go below that. Really? Come on.
Yeah.
So if it does that and bounces back, that's just because you're the one guy I talked to that said that number. Everybody's got a different number. You can't tell this stuff.
Yeah, you can. I tell my subscribers that all the time.
Nobody has a crystal ball here.
No.
Yeah,
so.
and plus, people don't take into account sometimes news. News will move a market up or down regardless of technical analysis.
Yeah.
All kinds of things can happen.
Right.
It can go up, it can go down, and the uncertainty, the error bars are bigger than the numbers.
Right.
But do I think it's a buying opportunity? And again, I'm not telling people to buy, but I think it's a buying opportunity. I do give everybody the same advice. Put about, and this is just my rule of thumb, put about 10% of your investable money into cryptos in a fairly broadly diversified basket, like at least 20 different things, preferably 40, 50. And 10% is probably about right. Not more, not less. You want to have exposure? Now's a great time to get in. But if it's 20 or 30, you're probably overexposed.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think a lot of people are having these heartaches with where we are in cryptos right now is because they're overexposed. I think a lot of people are overexposed. They're using money.
We are.
Yeah, we're using money that's discretionary. That's not discretionary. They're using their rent money. They're mortgaging their home and stuff like that. I just think that's a bad idea in such a new market where volatility, as we've seen, we've come down from 20K. That's a big drop. And I've seen it before, but I'm just saying for people that are new to this, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, especially if they got into something like BitConnect. You know what I mean? Where we saw people, like you said, put their refinance their houses and then look what happened. So, and it sucks because it really does a disservice to the overall space and then the regulators and the legislators feed off of that. So
So I'm going to say this. I don't know if it's a low point or not, but I think we've got actually a fairly optimistic picture over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
Right.
Well, let me say it this way: we could easily look back 3 years from now and say, "Oh my God, we're up 20x from that day. That day when we had that conversation." That would not. That would, to me, that's totally. You know, we could be up 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x, but we could also be up 10 or 20x.
Right, and I've said this before because when you know, I've had some Bitcoin for a while, but probably January of last year is when I first started getting Ethereum and doing, you know, ICOs and whatnot. And when I first got Ethereum, it was $10, and Litecoin wasn't even on Coinbase yet. Bitcoin was $800. And look how far we went in less than a year. So, you know, I think people tend to forget that and lose perspective. So now with the wallet, is it going to be just ERC20 and Ethereum to start with, and then, or?
No, we'll have a pretty full-blown exchange. We'll add as many cryptos as we can, as quickly as our engineering team can get them out. So we'll kind of have a core trunk, and then we'll containerize all these different blockchains and get them on board. And then we're going to work on a big blockchain explorer that's kind of a multi-blockchain explorer, so you can kind of ask it questions, see where money is sloshing and things like that. And should be pretty interesting.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, it really, you know, back because I participated in the Pillar pre-ICO and the ICO.
Right.
Yeah. So yep. And
we'll get you your laptop stickers.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to get some of those. But yeah, I mean, I remember just reading the white paper and just, you know, thinking that this is going to be so much more than a wallet. This is like, you know, like you said, it's going to be a whole ecosystem. And, you know, a lot of people don't really do the research, and then they're like, oh, it's just a wallet. And, you know, I remember just people like Mike B did videos about Pillar, talking about the different functionalities that you plan to implement. And, you know, it's just super, super exciting stuff. And I think, you know, I really think that Pillar is going to be huge. So
our goal is to sell a T-shirt on the wallet by the end of summer, and we'll, you know, you'll see a card for it in the wallet. And you'll say, "Oh, T-shirt. How many do you want? What size do you want? Where do you live?" But of course, you don't have to fill out where you live because the wallet knows where you live. If you do KYC, there's all this advantage of having your data there already, right? So you don't have to type it in again. And then you'll get a T-shirt. Now, there's no other wallets where you can buy a T-shirt, so that'll start to differentiate, and then we'll start to teach people how to connect their offerings into our offer platform.
So do you think, where do you see as far as Pillar taking market share? Do you feel there's a hurdle for helping individuals learn about Pillar, about cryptos? Like, are you basically, I guess I'm asking, what's your initial target market? Are you going for people, I'm assuming people who know about crypto, but how do you bridge that gap?
It's people who have tokens. That's our first market.
Right.
And there's like 13 million wallets now. So, you know, tokens and cryptocurrencies, that's a decent market to start.
Right.
And then we're going to work more and more toward consumers. So lots of education. Lots of, like, make a safer ICO, because ICOs with MyEther are insane. So let's get out of that. It's way too dangerous. We've had so many people lose money by getting fished. That's really a disaster. So let's just take steps that make this whole economy safer and easier to use. That's our thing at Pillar. It's like, okay, we've cut our teeth now on the early adopter days. Now, if we're going to get the real consumers in, we're going to have to make it much easier to use.
Right, and I know that was one of the key things that you were trying to do, is make this like a just very simplified for the non-tech savvy person. And that's, like you said, that's, you know, for somebody who wanted to do an ICO. I remember my first one on my Ether wallet, and just the whole everything in general. I mean, aside from Coinbase, which is generally very easy to use, everything's pretty. If you don't know about tech to begin with, it's really overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You can really lose money.
Right. That too. Yeah. Definitely.
Plenty of people get probably close to $1 billion of theft last year.
Right.
Phishing and hacking. So, and the phishers, it's just getting worse and worse with phishing. So that's why we don't have a web wallet. Web wallet's too easy to phish, and apps are easier to control. And our goal is to make it so simple that by the end of the year, when we release our grandma wallet, that you'll write down your 12 words, but in case you lose them, our wallet will be very social. And so you'll hook up to a couple of people that you trust, and you'll be able to have a multi-sig with them. So in case you lose your 12 words, 2 people you trust should be able to put your wallet back together.
Wow.
Because we know that people have a hard time, safeguarding 12 words.
Right.
Consumers, we can do it, but consumers have a hard time.
Right.
So we're going to just be working on more and more and more simple, safe solutions for people.
I think we will have succeeded once we get to the point where blockchain, people don't know they're using the blockchain. Yeah. That's when we've succeeded, in my opinion.
Well, that's going to take banking licenses, guys, because then you want dollars.
Yeah, that's true.
Dollars is a good product, and dollar is the product that most people know.
Right.
And you're not going to have it on any platform without a banking license.
Right.
That's very true.
Trust me, it's hard because we're going to operate in 30 different jurisdictions, where we'll need banking licenses. So,
so do you guys have like a good war chest for these types of endeavors? It's going to be a lot of lobbying needed to be done. A lot of,
It's hard. We got to band together. We have a lot less money than we did 2 months ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot less.
Right.
So I'm on the executive committee of the Chamber of Digital Commerce, and I'm part of Crypto Valley in Zug, Switzerland. I'm starting to play a role here in London, and the more we can do to educate, the better. I do know, by the way, there are several banks that are starting up as what they call crypto banks, which essentially is we have the banking licenses and APIs, and you can use us to, exchange and do this, the various functions that banks are legally required to do and have the licenses for. It's not my first choice, but it makes sense for some entrepreneurs to go out and buy some banks and open them up with APIs, and that's happening.
Yeah, that's I have heard of that happening, and that's good. I mean, I think that it sucks because it's kind of like a catch-22. I think once we see more adoption, and that people are, whether they're using crypto or just buying crypto, the more adoption we see, I would hope that the more they'll ease up on the barriers and so, but then again, on the other hand, it's like, you kind of need them to ease up for the more people to get in. So, because a lot of people are just, ever since all of the talk of, the negative overtone.
It's so hard to get a bank account, for example. Go walk into any bank anywhere and say, well, we're going to give you dollars and have dollars in the bank account. Don't worry. It's just going to be dollars. But we do crypto stuff. Then they're just going to say, no, don't get a bank.
Yeah. My, not my bank personally, but I know a lot of people personally they can't even buy crypto anymore personally with their own bank accounts.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So it's, it is, they're making it harder, but I still haven't lost faith. I'm still very optimistic. About everything.
Oh yeah.
And maybe we needed to see this happen.
Oh yeah, you gotta shake the weak hands out, man. That's my philosophy.
Well, it happened in 2000 with internet companies.
Right.
We lost 80% of internet companies. It's certainly a setback. What it does is it scares investors away, right? So if you're now trying to raise a fund or raise money for your company or even do an ICO, it does scare people now. And I think that by the end of this year, we'll see more. And by the way, I don't love this because I'd like to see the pure crypto world emerge. But I think what will help is when dollars are on the platforms, and you can pretty easily not just change dollars, which you can do on Coinbase, but actually move dollars. You can't send $1 from Coinbase to Kraken. You'd have to go into Bitcoin and then back out.
Right? Or you can use Tether, but many people don't trust Tether.
No, Tether, no, bad. No. So some other things may come along.
Yeah. But
I think that will help. I think, as you say, some of the legislation or regulation will give the institutional investors. But now we need like a second phase of acceleration. Now we've got to get out and show that we're doing stuff.
Right.
Now it's time to build. It's like what would you do if you were Elon Musk and your stock had just been cut in about half, a third maybe, and just been trashed by analysts saying you're not making enough cars? You'd go down and talk to people and say, okay, let's show them what we've got, right? Let's build cars, right? That's the thing to do. The thing is not to argue and protest. The thing is to build cars.
All right, prove them wrong.
Just build stuff that people want.
Yep.
Just hunker down and build things and get somewhere and make progress.
Right.
And then you'll come back a year from now and say, see, people are using that. We're starting to get traction with all that stuff. So it's better to be hopeful and to get busy,
right?
Creating that world, and just deal with whatever you have to deal with as you go.
So any final thoughts, David, before we wrap up for today?
Well, we are trying to educate people. So we're going to have a big conference. It's called an Unconference in Vilnius, Lithuania. This is coming up the 15th of July 15th to 22nd, followed by an extra excursion to St. Petersburg, Russia, in case you haven't been there. Unconference 2018 up there at the top. It's going to be big. It's going to be fun. I really recommend people to come. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn a lot about tokens, about ICOs, about technology, wallets, how to build your business on our wallet. It's going to be sort of general business, general technology, crypto technology, and pillar technology. So it's not just kind of a meet and greet. It's real, lots of workshops and lots of learning. It's going to be fun. It's a whole week in Vilnius, Lithuania. So we encourage people to come. We'll also be announcing more programs for that over the next couple of weeks that we might want to talk about later.
All right, sweet.
Excellent.
We may have to have you come back on.
Great.
So, man, thank you so much, founder and CEO of Pillar Project, David Siegel. We appreciate your time on the Block Party Podcast, episode 8. It's your boy, Crypto Blood.
Guys.
All right, thanks, David.
All right, take care, guys.
Welcome to the Block Party Podcast.